Hey there, it's Evgeny, and today I'm interviewing commercial photographer from France and Montreal, Max Riche. Hey, Max.
Hi, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's really good to see you here. I know that you traveled with the night bus
Yeah.
to get to Toronto this early morning. So appreciate it a lot. Like I know that you probably feel not as good as I with my 8 hour sleep, but appreciate it.
Night bus horrible, but crazy schedules. You have to make things happen. So
So what brings you here to Toronto?
I was really looking forward to speaking to you guys, and also a couple of appointments that I have in town. Like I come to Toronto a lot to meet with agencies and potential clients. There's a lot happening here too.
Yeah. So and I know that work has been keeping you really busy. I was really excited to see your not so recent but really exciting Red Bull campaign that you shot. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, sure. So that was a really interesting adventure and good case study too. If you want to talk about a starting photographer at the
Mm-hmm.
time, I was shooting a personal series with the National Sports Institute in Paris with
Mm-hmm.
Olympic athletes, and this series got bigger because I got a couple of prizes in Europe. One in France, one at the European
Mm-hmm.
level. So it got published in several magazines in about.
What year are we talking about?
We're talking about 2012.
All right.
And so summer 2012, it got all over the press, photo press in Europe, like about 20 magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And so Red Bull saw that in Germany, and the media house in Austria called me up and said, we'd love to do the same series, but for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
for our athletes. Do you agree to do that for us?
And you said, hell yes.
Of course, and it's like it's the dream kind of situation. You're not kind of bidding for a job, and that's your vision, and you see that people like it, so it's really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put all the production and all of that behind it to make a really stunning image. So I was really excited to receive that call, and
And I feel that those images actually uh, at least for me and probably for other viewers, established your personal style as the commercial photographer with that motion view photos that are just like caught in the right moment and then combined just creates that really live picture. And you told me earlier that other clients would want to have the same style, so like they would be bidding to get you on board for the same style. What do you tell them?
Well, first, I'm always really happy and honored when they reach out for something that initially was a personal idea. I mean, it's like creativity is not something you invent out of the blue, and it's based on other elements of photography that I combine, but that I improved or took further, like the run of Daisy the horse with Edward Muybridge, and
Hmm.
the sequence of movement, that's a founding base of photography.
Yeah, that was like,
And
what is it, 100 years ago,
like
more.
at the very beginnings, right? And so that was the premise. Then adding some trails for the movement, and then the extra layer of storytelling about the athlete changing clothes and
Hmm.
telling a story in one image. So that was kind of a it came together, and then I was working really hard to execute that, and it took long hours and a lot of sweat
Hmm.
to do that on a personal a budget and organization. So it's really cool when they reach out to you because of this vision, and yeah, when they want to adapt that either to video
Hmm.
or photography. Of course, like we start talking, and they trust me a lot about the vision that I want to bring to this image. So
Hmm.
again, it's wonderful to be able to like bring some elements of creativity into the production, the angle, and we choose. Then we would start talking together about what they want, how we make that happen to work well within their brand, and
Hmm.
it's a great discussion. It's one of the best cases you can have, I guess.
And I think when you're talking about vision, you have that new project that is coming together after 4 years called Climate Heroes. And I find it really exciting. Can you talk a little bit more about
Sure,
this?
yeah. So again, like that was a lot of
If you
sweat.
can talk about it,
I
of
can talk
course.
about it. I won't tell everything, but like stay tuned in the coming months for more.
Okay.
It should you should see it more around. But again, it was a long story, and I started initially. I started making pictures. I wanted to say something about climate change for my
Mm-hmm.
personal work because I care about the environment, and I thought that was photography was the good entry point also to get people's attention into this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, I wanted to make photos of deforestation in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
And doing my research, it's kind of dangerous, like physically dangerous. If you go there as a photographer, you can be beaten up, you can be abducted, you can be
By the industry.
by the industry, the paper industry. So I thought, okay, I'm not the hardcore war photojournalist and all of that. And also, some of those things have been very well documented. So trying to bring my personal views to it, I thought I want to bring out the positive examples
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
like portray people doing positive things to inspire more. So that started like that back 4 years ago.
Mhm.
And after a lot of sweat and building a group of photographers that I trusted all around the world, we've been working harder and harder to put together those portraits.
Mhm.
So they are in Thailand, Cambodia, monks,
Mhm.
they are activists, they are solar energy people, or just scientists, Nobel prizes.
So you helped organize several photographers to go out there, find people who inspire uh, any action for the climate change,
Yeah.
and you document that.
Yeah, I mean, I do some photography. Like
Mhm.
I started the first photo shoots. I still do now, but I also do the artistic direction. And it's important to have the vision for the project to keep it consistent.
Mhm.
So there are some guidelines for people. They all have their own style, but also
Absolutely.
we ask that they have some consistent shot list.
Mhm.
That must-haves. They must
Mhm.
come back with that from the shoot, so that we could put together all of the material. We have videos also. There's all of a process to get really thorough documentation,
Mhm.
and it's more about the human feelings of those heroes
Mhm.
more than just the technicals of what they do. It's more how those people can inspire you to realize
Mhm.
that I can also do little things. So yeah, it's really exciting. It's coming together, and we're about to launch it bigger this fall.
Okay, so it's coming out this fall, and I guess we'll hear more about this.
You should, yeah.
So, going back to your life in France, uh, you started as an engineer, right?
That's
You
correct.
studied as an engineer. So how did you end up in commercial photography?
Yeah, that was an interesting reconversion. I studied engineering in France, in the US, and in the UK, and I had several master's degrees, and I started working in biotechnology as a consultant for the biotech industry.
That's a big change.
That's a big change, right? After a while, I also had this pressing subject that's the environment, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe I could try to do, biotech is also applied to environment with
Mm-hmm.
success. And on the way, I realized that I always had interest in fine arts, drawing, painting, playing music, and I thought maybe I need something that combines creativity with having an impact, with doing something with my own hands, and
So you
that's
picked up a camera.
and I picked up a camera. I had done photography before,
Okay.
since I was maybe 10 or 15. And when I was living in New York, I shot a lot of like street photography, architecture, but never thought that it would be a professional occupation for
Mm-hmm.
me, until I had a purpose and I started my Climate Heroes project.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way, I thought, I love photography. I have this project, but I also love to go full-time commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another way of working where you can maybe you work not less hours, but less frequently. That
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing like weddings, you're booked every
Every
weekend.
weekend, yeah.
But here it's more like bigger projects, but it leaves you more time to also pursue personal work. And I think it's really important to have the time to do that because that's how you bring something unique and personal to the table. So it felt really a good combination of like this
So that you
commercial
have your
side
own
and
time to
personal
explore
projects.
your personal things.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, a lot of people would be really uh, really happy to land their first client. And you can probably, I don't know if you can reveal the client or not, but you can probably speak to the experience of landing your first big project.
Mm-hmm. I would say do good personal work again. Like that was really the first, like the largest project I had, where because of that. So that's interesting how you have to have this mentality of doing things for yourself. Like that's something I try to talk about a lot on my blog, like being an artist and an entrepreneur. Like for a long time, I was afraid that it was not compatible until I met some other renowned photography friends, very influential, who told me also that they were feeling the same. And I realized, yeah, this is how it should be.
and and I think it's extremely hard to be both. What I find is a lot of artists they want to stay on the creative side, and they would hate doing accounting, right? Or they would hate doing pricing for their work for the clients. How do you deal with that? How would you price your own work and your own time? Like, how would you negotiate that it's worth specific amounts?
You have to see it like it's a business, it's a living. You're bringing a lot of value when you are able to bring your own vision because nobody else has it. So I don't say you have to rip people off. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to take into account that you have to live to be able to create your work. So you have to know how to price yourself so that it's sustainable for you over time. And when you talk to somebody, sometimes it's good to make like a discount for like first collaboration, or sometimes there are budget constraints and you're really excited about the project, so you're doing more for the project and for the money. But in the end, it's also like being an entrepreneur. You want to first bring your vision, but also make it sustainable, like a business also, not just creating arts. Although you can do fine arts if you want, that's cool. I mean, I do that too, and sell in galleries. But it's that you have to be clear about where you're going and what you want to achieve. And I think that illustrates very well this mix of today. You cannot just afford to be creative. You also have to know how to sell yourself,
how to market yourself,
and demonstrate the value that you bring to the potential clients that you contact.
So what would be the advice to younger generation that is just getting started with photography, and it's really hard to land the first client. It's really hard to get a first job, and the price for photo shoots get lower and lower because people think it's, hey, anybody can take a photo, right? The end result will differ a lot, but what would be the advice not to kind of like outprice yourself out of the market, but at the same time land a job? Like, how do you, and was like, oh, my question is like super complicated. And was that how to establish your personal style so that you can land more and more jobs with this style? Like, is there any advice that you can give?
Sure. I mean, one thing that helped me a lot when I started, I also assisted other photographers for a year or two, and more because I really related to them as a person. Also, like they're now friends, and also I could learn a lot doing that, but also get advice. And I remember when I got my first big client, and I called one of them up and said, okay, so how do you do it? Like, what's the decent price here in the market? Because like, of course the photo takes a lot of time and I'm bringing a unique vision to it, but like I don't want to go too expensive. So he just told me his experience, and he said, it's been the same for the last 20 years, like a lot of stress the night before and a lot of gray hairs, and you never are really sure that this will fly. But you have to know your worth deep down inside. You know it, that if you really create something that you're proud of, and then people notice, and then you bring some other vision to the table, it's a really bad idea to just discount that, because people tend to be skeptical when it's cheap as well. So you have to find the right point. Otherwise, it's really hard to establish a brand if you're not pitching the right kind of clients, not pitching the right kind of budgets. To start with, you have to maybe make efforts on your side. Like my first personal series, Becoming an Athlete, the one that got published, was aimed for a client, the National Sports Institute in Paris. I ended up financing all that myself because I really trusted that idea, and they didn't have the budget at the time to produce that. And eventually, that
worked
led,
out well, right?
that led to an amazing job with Red Bull. So sometimes you say, okay, I believe in your project. This is what I'm worth, but today I'm like, I can do that one time for you for like a lot cheaper, but don't do that all the time. Like,
so switching gears and talking about gear, actually, what are you shooting with? What's and what excites you?
there's a lot happening. Yeah, I've been an Nikon shooter since the beginning, since film. And actually, I've had a Canon. My first real digital camera was a compact by Canon. I think the sensor is no dead. It makes like all purple images.
Wow.
It's that old. Yeah, but and I shoot Nikon. I love the fact that it's really sturdy and really customizable, and I have a great feeling for what they do. In terms of other cameras that excite me, I'm was recently contacted by Phase One to test out their latest, digital bags.
And it's probably really exciting.
It's really exciting. So I'm putting out some crazy, stupid shoot with that on a cliff or something that they should not know about. Otherwise, they will be really scared.
Where you can see every pixel.
But that's also exciting. I love medium format. I've had film medium formats, Hasselblads and the likes. So really looking forward to seeing what they have deep inside there. And the mirrorless cameras also. I'm trying to diversify a little bit the setup to travel lighter on some occasions. So
just for the personal body of work, or
probably, yeah,
both.
Probably.
I guess like when you're doing the really hard photo shoots, like you want something that will be reliable no matter what.
Like I went to the D800 initially because the sensor was 36 megapixels. When you work in advertising, the problem is not necessarily what happens on the shoot, but what the client and the agency wants to do later with it. Like they might want to take a horizontal image and crop really short on vertical for like a poster or something. So you have to have the firepower behind it to be able to just like lose half of your resolution for another crop, So medium format is great. Also shot the Hasselblad 50C last year with Broncolor in Paris. So testing out those different systems. You don't do the same with everything. It's not the same autofocus for action, but you have other benefits. On my 500px profile, I just put up like the Hasselblad 50C digital back on the 5D model of a BMX biker doing tricks in studio. That was a challenge, but that works. I mean, you pre-focus, you know what you're doing, and then you can get great images as well. So
great, yeah. So where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on 500px. You can find me on my website, maxriche.com. You can find me some of the work also on climateheroes.org. That's the NGO climate change project.
Great.
All over the place, the handles are Max Riche, so it's easy.
That's easy, yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Max, for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
I know it's too early for you, so again, thanks a lot, and I think it was really insightful.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure. Really enjoy it.
Yeah.